All right, and welcome back to our first session of the second story of Weeknight Hero. So we just finished up Caesar's story, so we're going to move on to my sister and the mutant savior, Katie.
That's about right,
So, Katie, how you doing?
Pretty good. Excited to see where my character goes.
Yeah, so she, as I'm sure you could not tell, is based on another character, heavily, and she has a dream of mutant coexistence. She is trying to go out and build a community for people like her. So we're going to focus on meeting new mutants and building a team from that. So it's a team-based book. All right, Katie. So we'll just go into some real general things about your character. What kind of team do you want to make?
I'm thinking I want something more well-rounded than anything. Like, I want to have, like, someone who can have, like, a long distance, like, a short-range kind of person. I guess I'm thinking of, like, battles, right? Like, fighting. Yeah. Like, I think I want, like, a long-range, short distance, and someone who's a little bit more strategic. So, I don't know. I'm thinking, like, long-range people are more, like, you know, with ice or fire or something. They can shoot something, right? Like, Cyclops type thing. Those are long-range things. And then people who are more maybe physical, like a beast type character for like close range type stuff. And then maybe the other two, I think having someone who can fly is always good. good.
Well, you can fly, but it's always good to have more people who can carry others.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking like a grab bag character. Somebody has a cool power, but maybe we don't realize how it's useful until it is useful. I think that would be a really cool like addition to the story. Mm-hmm. Like a Jubilee lame ass freaking firework powers. So we don't know when she's useful until she is, right? I don't want a Jubilee. No, Jubilee's powers are stupid. But something similar.
We're going heavy X-Men.
Well, that's X-Men just what I know. So.
Type beat. I know we had talked earlier about it being like late teens aged, mm-hmm. just because that's who you're familiar with and that's who you can talk to. So we'll draw on that knowledge in order to help them and get them to understand their powers better and face the challenges that late teens grow up with. So
I don't want to have my powers, like that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, you know, they're what's the word called? There are not sensitive populations where I'm sure they're mutant gifts to make their lives easy for them.
No, I'm 100% sure it didn't make their lives
your life
easy.
Very easy.
No, so it's hard to fit in, especially when that's all you want and you're that age, is to fit in and build those relationships. So I think part of it's like forming that family and that cohesive unit, but also knowing that there's going to be conflict within that family because kids aren't going to be always satisfied with what they've got.
Yeah. Set
rules and structure and all. I'm sure a lot of those kids maybe didn't have like rules or structure. Like I imagine, I mean, if you're thinking back to just, I don't know, I'm basing this all off of X-Men, I know. But, like, I know a lot of them don't necessarily have rules or structure because they were either abandoned or they were adopted and, you know, go from house to house, home to home. So I think that's probably where, like, our central conflict might come from, is that, like, some sort of rebellion. Yeah. Maybe one of them will betray me for another faction of heroes.
Well, we'll leave everything, you know, grounded in reality, but we'll also make it very blank slate, so these characters can kind of be what you want them to be. They have their own traits and desires and friends and enemies, and so they might not go along with everything that you do, but like you said, it's about building well-rounded people. So I think it'd be fun if you could, you know, they could end up leaving the team, or new people could join the team, or if you don't feel like you worked well with this person, or you're always butting heads with somebody. It's up to you to determine whether or not you can do conflict resolution or if they can't be here anymore.
Okay.
So we'll leave.
Are these more? So these are mutant powers, but they don't necessarily like. Is magic a mutant power?
No. So I have it pretty divvied up.
Okay.
We'll establish that you have like a house, like a maybe farmland that was bequeathed to you or something like that.
I would love that. That sounds amazing.
I know you'd said you'd wanted it around like Lake Tahoe area because you really like that area.
Sierras, and more like I know every like X-Men wants like dreams of like a big mansion, but I'm thinking more like tiny houses, like a big plot of land, and like there's tiny houses for like people.
These kids can live in. So we can build something like that up there. Also,
like rustic Professor X.
You can be a summer camp if you're.
Oh, that I think would be perfect because it's more of like a place that, because I mean obviously maybe some of them have families and some of them do. So the ones who don't have families could stay year round, but it'd be part of the year that they can come up and
and interact so that they're not always there.
Yeah.
And then they have time to get away, but they can come back if they need to.
Yeah.
So I like that. So we'll establish your tiny house. Now, do you live in a tiny house?
Well, I'm thinking I must have some sort of like crafting lab somewhere. So maybe I do, because I feel like, I don't know why I'm imagining this like rustic person, but probably have a tiny house, but I also have like a lab, which is more like, think like warehousey type, like bunker type thing, where it's not necessarily organized, but there's a lot of different things going on, and like it makes sense to me but not to you, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean that's something that can really help. So you establish your base. What do you want? What do you want to call it?
Oh man, hideaway.
That's cool.
Is that cool? The hideaway.
Yeah. Well, if you wanted to be a summer camp,
I think the hideaway is good because it doesn't necessarily, I don't know, I'm thinking not like the anti X-Men, like I'm not so maybe technologically and like, not a mansion in New York, kind of the opposite of that, but still like a place to learn things.
Well, you have all that area that you won't get noticed in, so you can train your powers without being noticed.
Mm-hmm. High elevation too, so that's helpful.
Yeah. So other than that, they can also do summer camp activities. And it's kind of difficult to do like a tactical strike in the middle of nowhere because you're not connected to any sewers. No one would happen upon your location,
right?
We'll say. So it makes it really easy to tell who needs to be there and who doesn't. So while you're working away here, now do you want a Cerebro unit?
I think that would be probably a good thing to have, just because like that is my main power, and I think part of it is, I think just in terms of like the group where like with Caesar, Chris, and you and everything is, I'm going to have to be able to identify people. So yeah, but maybe not so ostentatious as X-Men, but still the similar like idea.
Well, the original Cerebro was built on this idea of like there's like a power desk. There's like this 60s idea that I first noticed watching You Only Live Twice, if you know that. That like you have this desk in like early 60s design where it has like a million things built into it, and they had like a recreational version where it was like a record player and like a TV that like people had in their homes. So it's kind of on that same idea where they put everything into one big desk. So the original Cerebro was the size of a desk, and I think it put out that little like paper where it has the little, like you can tear it off on the sides and there's dots that go all along
the like printer paper. Yeah.
And so that's how he would determine who people are. So we can.
I think though, like if we're talking about like today's tech compared to what like even the 90s X-Men was based on, I mean no computers are that big. Like my computer literally fits in my hand. It's like a cell phone. So I probably would say it's probably no bigger than a laptop, or no bigger than like, so it has to be something small that I could fit in a small space. So I don't know if laptop is the correct thing, but some sort of machine that's laptop size.
So the idea is for it to be portable.
Yeah, yes? because that's where tech's going these days. It's not the same thing as it was, in the 90s, 60s, previously, even 10 years ago. So if I can take my phone somewhere, I should be able to take my Cerebro similar. Think like an iPad Pro size.
That's what I was thinking, of something like a laptop or maybe even an iPad, kind of a size to it. So we can have you construct this as your first big set piece. So we're going to have you roll for technology. So let me go ahead and roll for technology for you. All right, so rolling for the design phase, you have to put together all your plans, and so now you have mental quickness. So you can use that to build these designs out in your head and get them done incredibly quickly. So you rolled a 14 with your skill of 10. You easily beat 18 by like a lot. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you take down a task that would normally take you 8 hours, now takes you 2 with the benefit of your mental quickness. So you're like, all right, I already know exactly what it's going to look like. We're going to base that on an iPad and all of that. So you go and you work on that, and then you have to construct the thing. So this one takes a little bit longer, but you manage to succeed. if you failed, you'd build something like a contraption that kind of succeeds and fails at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't do what you want it to. That takes 32 hours. So over the course of like 4 days, you come together with this laptop-sized thing that you can put in a backpack. And so it does a signal that bursts out. So we'll say that while you were building all of this, it kind of works like a radar. And because you're a mutant, you put off a weird, abnormal radiation impulse, something like that. There's a radiation that every mutant gives off, and so you're able to track that, and therefore it can lead you to mutants.
Got it.
So you build this in time. There's not a moment too soon, because down in Brazil there is a freak weather pattern that's going on. So I know currently it's summer here. It'd be winter there.
Right.
And while it's not uncommon for Rio de Janeiro to get snow, which is something I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, snow's relative to your elevation, right?
Yes.
Like, you get snow in Hawaii. So, like, when you have climate and bio changes, it's relative to where you are on the Earth's, like, hemisphere and your latitude, but also having to do with your altitude. So, latitude and altitude, that's what gives you snow.
All right, well, you know what? Let's use this, because we are going to use it to track her. Basically,
Okay.
this mutant that is responsible for this freak weather pattern, because for a week in Brazil, it has shut down to blizzard temperatures, and so the city can't stand to be in a week of constant blizzards like it's somewhere way further up north hemisphere. So something kind of needs to be done, because the entire country of Rio de Janeiro is shut down because of this storm.
The entire country of Brazil or city of Rio de Janeiro?
Yeah, sorry. The city of Rio de Janeiro and the surrounding areas. So Brazil's kind of in panic. So it's a state of emergency. So using this knowledge that you just brought up right now, I'll say that we can kind of skip the location phase of where you'd need to find her, because where would you find the epicenter of a weather phenomena?
Well, I'd probably do some sort of geography. So, like, Doppler radar, like things like that. And I'm sure, I mean, that's pretty easy. Like, you could just, that's a super, it's just a really quick Google search, but you can even click like NOAA or just like the USGS. Even they monitor weather pretty much all the time. So I'd try to find where that's like centrally located. So where is like the concentration of that snow is pretty quick. And then I would search that. I would just go to that whatever area that is. So it would probably give me a pretty big radius, but I think I just need to be within, how many miles do I need to be in for Cerebro to work?
So this works for every, probably like, it's 3 to 5 mile radius.
So I'd probably start in Rio de Janeiro, the central city, and start moving out. Okay, but that's where...
Awesome. So we'll tie it into your weather skills and your skill mastery and all of that, and say that your knowledge of physical sciences has contributed to you being like, oh no, I already know, like, I look at Doppler all the time, so let me pull up the Doppler, be like, okay, so if we go back, it started in this area, so it grew from like a small little microcell into like a giant storm that's been going on. So you're like, oh, okay, so more likely than not, it's there. So from here, we'll move the scene on. So you just looked up the Doppler weather forecast, and you went back, and so you were able to determine where exactly it took place. You got it when it was a little teeny tiny weather system, so you're like, oh, it's got to be here. So you travel to Rio de Janeiro. Okay, what do you want to call your portable radar for mutants?
I think I'm going to call it Nancy, for like Nancy Drew, because it's like a detective type thing.
Oh, that's pretty good. So
yeah.
It finds mutants.
Yeah.
Where in the world are mutants?
Oh, I guess I could call it Carmen Sandiego. Ooh, Carmen or Nancy?
You could do either. I don't know. No, do Carmen.
Carmen? Okay,
Carmen's
we'll call
good.
it Carmen.
We need more Carmens.
Where Carmen's in the world? Carmen, where in the world are the mutants?
So you do that, and so it takes your little radar, and so you follow it over to a smaller kind of like beach city of Rio de Janeiro that's really close to Copacabana, called, I think it'd be like Pero, like Pero or something like that. It's Pero. I don't know exactly how you'd say it.
Pero like that?
I guess, if that's what it sounds like in
I don't know
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
So you go there, and it's a small town, and so when you go and you find more turbulent weather by the beach. So as you follow it over there, you see 2 men and 2 young women arguing with each other on on the beach right there. And so now they're surrounded by boats and everything that they've pulled in from the water, because now the water's too frigid. So because normally it's a vacation spot, so people vacation there and they do like boating, and so now they're just like in this sea of boats that they just pulled in. So they're arguing with each other. So like the area around them gets all like crackly with lightning, and we'll say that your telepathic senses kind of give you anger around this area. Mm-hmm. So somebody there is pissed. So how would you like to interact with these ahead of you, this group of 4 people arguing?
How many people are around them? Or are they pretty much by themselves?
It's just them by themselves because everyone's inside.
Well, I mean, I guess I would... can I not disguise myself, but like hide myself somehow so I can get close to hear what they're saying? Or maybe I can just use my telepathy. I don't know how far the range is, but I need to know what they're saying, because if I approach them, it's already pretty fucking angry, and I don't want to make things worse, so I need to get more information. So I want to hear what they're saying.
All right, so as you approach, you're able to get a little bit closer, and so... Well, you don't understand what they're saying because they're speaking in Portuguese.
Oh, shit!
Right, but we'll say you can use non-verbal communication. And so these 2 young women are, like, really in, like, an aggressive stance. And so they're arguing with these people. So everyone in this situation is, like, really on edge, really, really aggressive. You can see clearly that the 2 men have guns. The young women don't. But, like, they don't seem to they're not intimidated by the guns at all, is one of the things that you notice. So let's say everything's about to, like, boil over right now. So do you choose to intervene?
I do.
All right. Well, how would you...
Well, I take the guns away, and... Well, I don't know who's the one who's the aggressor in the situation. Mm-hmm. Because it sure sounds like they're pretty... If they're not intimidated at all... And I don't know if these guys are, like, defending themselves or if they're the ones that are the aggressors. So I take the guns telepathically, and I guess I reveal myself.
Okay, so we'll have you, like, come out from behind a boat.
Yeah.
And then you see the guns, and then you use your telekinesis.
Telekinesis, not telepathy.
To rip them from their hands. So with these faveleros being minions...
Yeah.
They will very easily fail against your telepathic powers, so you just rip them from their hands and you can throw them in the ocean or something like that. So it's thrown into the ocean, so now they're unarmed. And so the 2 young women that are with you then choose to act because now they're unarmed. So one of them generates like a static electricity field off of them and uses their hands to like shoot the electricity at both of them, so it knocks both of them back because their little argument has ended now, and so she had the opportunity to hit him. So she hits him and strikes him with lightning that's coming off of her body, right? And so when they do that, they see you're there, and now they don't know exactly what to make of you. The one girl is still really, really angry, so let's say she shouts something to you in Portuguese because she's assuming that everyone she interacts with is Portuguese. She's never been outside of...
And I'm a little bit brown too, so I could fit in.
Yeah. You're half... there's a little Latin in you, so okay. So maybe she sees you as another Brazilian, so she speaks Portuguese to you immediately. So you don't understand it, though. So how would you like to proceed from here?
Well, can I acquire a language somehow?
So we can do a power stunt where you're using your telepathy to connect with each other. And if you were to put a little more effort into it, you can get it so that you're able to translate Portuguese into English, and you can translate English into Portuguese for them. So you kind of trade minds. And so now she already has all of the training and neural pathways to understand what English is, as if she has been trying to learn it her entire life. So now you can both communicate with each other, and the other girl cannot. So you two can communicate. So now she lets you essentially know, like, what do you want? What are you doing here? And as she says that, like a crack of lightning hits the beach right next to you.
We got a bunch of sea glass. That's great. I'll collect that for later.
So how would you diffuse the situation? So she's already rather aggressive and intimidating.
So I'm coming to the conclusion that she's the reason for the storm. Because clearly, with all the things, and I want to soothe her, I guess. So I guess through my, like, because I can make people, not make her feel things, but give her, like, soothing energy, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To, like, kind of calm her down, like, I'm not here. So using my telepathic powers, I want to convey to her the message that I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to help you, because it looks like you're losing control of your powers a bit, and it's affecting a lot of people, and I want to make sure that they're okay too. So how can I help you? What do you need?
Okay, so we'll roll for that. So you're going to use your mental communication power to directly connect with her, and so you can get all of this over to her in an instant. So you can say things in people's minds essentially at 100 times the speed you can by physically saying them. So you can give her, like, your whole mission statement in just like a mental burst. So we can do that, and we can roll for a persuasion.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's roll for that. So you managed to succeed using the bonus modifier of, like, putting out good vibes. So you went to her and you, like, vibe check. No, so so you go, and so you're able to get your whole mission statement and true feelings over to her in that instant. So, like, in a thought flash, she's like, oh, that's really, really cool. She's always wanted to leave Rio de Janeiro. She's never traveled beyond the city, right? She always wanted to meet new people, and she's really interested in meeting new people who are also have powers like her, because her powers are directly tied to her emotions. She's worried that her outbursts can and have hurt other people, right? So in that instant, she's like, oh, okay, so...
Oh.
Yeah, like, to go directly from being aggressive to being non-aggressive anymore. She's just like, that's really, really cool. So you guys can get into this conversation, but it's one that her friend can't understand. And so now her friend grabs her and, like, forces her to leave. And so these people are in a relationship. Let's say that your mental connection lets you know that she's in a relationship with this other girl. So she kind of, like, grabs her by the arm and pulls her really hard and tells her that, no, we have to leave because she's very controlling, is the easiest way to put it.
Can I telepathically or telekinetically push her? Or, like, I don't know if violence is the way to go, but, like, I don't know. I feel like this person needs, like, talking to this person won't help. Like, it probably needs to be, like, a show of power.
So we'll do like a gentle shove that throws her into the water, and so when you do that, we're gonna introduce a power or a complication to the whole situation, because she doesn't see it that way by nature of her girlfriend's controlling aspect of it, or the controlling aspect of her girlfriend. So when you push her, she worries about her first, and so when you do that, she is on, like, a heightened aggressive edge when she's around her. So she automatically reacts using instinct, and so she lifts up the boats that are around you and throws them at you as a violent outburst. So you have boats being thrown at you. How would you proceed with stopping these boats?
I have to use my telekinesis and stop them.
Okay, so let's see.
And stop them and push them down, like, into the water so they don't hurt anybody.
So they're on the upper edge of your telekinetic weight class. So you're going to have to use all of your focus. So you wrap them around, like, in these telekinetic bubbles, and so you're able to just pick them up and then just toss them aside. And so as you do that, so she's already pulled her out of the water, and they're running away from you. So would you like to follow them?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
So you'll follow them all the way back to their to the house that they're living in. So They travel a pretty large distance to a house that's now vacant.
Right.
And so...
But I can use Carmen to find her.
Yeah, that's true. So she can't hide from you. So you follow them back to their house, and so now these two people are homeless, or previously were homeless. So they have no income, they have no one looking out for them, and so they kind of rely on each other a lot of the times. And so her girlfriend's really aggressive, controlling nature seems a little emotionally abusive, right? So she has this parasitic hold on her.
Like a mutant power parasitism, or just like colloquially parasitic? Like,
so
you're just saying it's parasitic.
So it is parasitic. So the reason why she's so angry is because her...
So what's the girlfriend's powers?
So it's exactly that. She heightens her powers.
But what is her power?
Is to heighten other people's powers.
Oh, okay. But it's by siphoning off energy from... Okay.
So she kind of is using her to make money and gain influence and status, but the weather-controlling mutant doesn't see it that way. Her name's Juliana, right? So she's using her as muscle and using their relationship in order to keep her there. And with their relationship being so chaotic, it just makes Juliana stronger.
Okay, so I need to get rid of the girlfriend for sure.
Yeah.
Or stop that some way, because they can't be in a relationship together, because clearly it's not good for anybody, including the entire continent of South America.
Yeah.
So,
especially not Brazil.
But I don't think talking to her is going to convince her. I mean, have you ever met a woman in an unhealthy relationship? They don't ever want to hear that. So something's got to happen to the... I feel like a vigilante. Like, I'm just going to get rid of her.
You can do that, so...
Well, I mean, where can I... But if I don't... Okay, she's not going to... Juliana is not going to trust me if I get rid of her girlfriend. Yeah. But she's also not going to, like... anything I do to the girlfriend is going to create some, like, dissonance between us. So man, that's tough.
You got to come up with a way...
Maybe I can use telepathy to help her see, like, what's going on in her relationship and how she's being used. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, no, that works out really, really well. So we can have you use another power stat.
Okay.
And we can do that. So you can, like, bridge everyone's mind. So she already kind of trusts you. And so she's like, well, so you initially have your conversation where it's just like she's controlling you. She's making you do things that you don't want to do. And you know that from interacting with her mentally. So if she makes you feel so bad, like, why don't you guys break up? And obviously she doesn't see it that way. So you bridge their two minds together using your power stunt. And so when their two minds come together, she's hit with this influx of... So there's a lot of control and fear and anger that she hides from Juliana. Mm-hmm. Right? Because she's not doing it because she loves her, and she's not doing it because of self-esteem. She's doing it because making her stay makes her feel more powerful. And so she gets all that other information where she's intimidating people and bribing people, where if you don't do it, you're going to freeze to death in your house, right? So she gets this idea that this power play has all been about using her, and at the end of the day, the coup de grace moment she gets is she realizes if her girlfriend gets caught and Juliana gets caught, she's going to throw her under the bus because she controls the weather, and so her power requires other people. No one would be able to even notice. No one would even say that she's the one who did it. Right. So only the weather-controlling mutant gets hurt in this situation. So she gets off scot-free. So by bridging these minds together and letting their emotions flood in, of course the girlfriend feels sorry, but Juliana realizes that that this control is not love, and maybe she's just been longing for people who understand her and would respect her and love her, and so now she knows that's not it. So now she's like, also I'll stop this whole thing, and then we can figure it all out. So now she's able to break that parasitic influence. She's able to calm down a little bit more. She realizes she's not good for me. We'll toss her aside.
She's got to be a lot more violent than that. Maybe she like...
Okay. We'll say that she like puts her in a whirlwind and throws her away.
Yeah, I like that. That's
outside,
good.
and she lands in some trash because she's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And so she says, like, so I understand you're sincere, and I understand what you want to do is to create a community. She said, I really want to meet new people. And so she said, I guess there's nothing tying me to Rio de Janeiro anymore. So yeah, I'll go with you. And so you'll make quick work of making sure people aren't looking for her anymore. So we'll say you do a little extra mind work and you get people to be like, just let it go. So nobody got hurt severely.
Yeah.
Nobody died. And so this will be a freak weather occurrence that nobody knows anything about.
Got it.
So you do that. And so now you are able to leave Rio de Janeiro with one more member of your team. So your first member. So her name is Juliana, right? She can control the weather. And so we can figure out the specifics of that later on. But she wants to decide on a hero name, but she really doesn't know what to do. Now that she also speaks English and you speak Portuguese, you guys can communicate.
Well, Storm seems like it's already been taken.
Yeah.
Let's see. She wants to decide on a hero name.
We can do like Storm in Portuguese.
That's what I was thinking, like another language.
Let's see what Storm in Portuguese is. It is Tempestade.
Oh.
Do you want?
Why don't we just call her Tempest?
Okay. Yeah.
Tempest. It sounds perfect.
So we can call her Tempest, and so she says, "I'm happy to be a part of the team."
Yay!
Yay! So we can wrap up the first session of I call it Mutagenesis, or you can call it Mutagen or something like that. So what do you think is better?
Mutagenesis.
Yeah, so this wraps up the first the first part of Mutagenesis. So join us next time as we discover more and more mutants and more about the world of mutants. So I've been Evan.
I'm still Katie.
So see you guys later.
Bye.